You are listening to an exclusive on Pod Hub Network. Your city, your podcast.
To the delight of this crowd, McClendon marches down the dugout steps with first base.
McCutcheon's throw. The runner breaks to the plate. Here's the throw. Wow. He is out. The Buccos win. That ball's hit well to left center field. Back toward the track. And that ball is gone.
You are listening to the North Shore 9 podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, make sure to watch NS9 Live every Thursday on Twitch and help support by becoming a patron. Let's go Bucs!
Yo, 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 welcome to Starbucs. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we got Jim Rosati. Jim, how you doing this glorious Tuesday morning?
Doing well. Is it as hot down there as it is here for you guys? Are you experiencing this heat wave the whole country is?
So I guess what's kind of funny is, yes, looking at the current Pittsburgh weather, it's currently 77 degrees right now in Pittsburgh.
At 7:20 a.m.
Right. I would have to say, I mean, it's usually just always hot this time of the year, and it's the same type of hot. So,
yeah.
It's nothing like abnormally more warmer here.
Gotcha. It's just really hot right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that it's like end of June, beginning of July. But I feel like usually it doesn't get like smoldering hot until like August, usually, you know? But man, it's rough right now. I don't want to go outside unless I'm at the pool.
See, you know what's really funny, Jim? It's 77 in Pittsburgh, as mentioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is currently 73 degrees in Jacksonville.
Okay. So it's warmer in Pittsburgh than it is in Jacksonville.
That is correct.
It is 76.
And according to this,
right
the high is 94 in Pittsburgh. The high today in Jacksonville is 87.
See?
So you're welcome.
That's a difference. Yeah. That's substantial.
For sure. Yeah, I didn't realize it was like crazy warm up there. I was seeing on Twitter, everyone talking about it. So, welcome to my life.
But it's not. It's actually hotter than your life.
Right.
It's worse.
Yeah, like actually, it being 87. It's. I mean, honestly, like at 87, that's for this time of the year. That's kind of, I don't want to say cold, but it should be in the 90s right now. Like I should be sweating when I go outside. So it's really weird that it's that hot up there and then it's per se this cold down here.
I mean, I went to get like the mail from my mailbox yesterday, and it just like it hit me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous."
Really?
I feel it for the people who like work outside.
Yeah,
that'd be rough. Be rough right now.
Yeah, for sure. That's like down here, like most of the construction you see is always like at night this time of the year because no one wants to work in the day, especially with the humidity down here. Oh my God, that's got to be rough.
Yeah.
So I get like, yeah, most crews work in the night, but I'm sure they
you have to
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
Yeah.
So enough.
How about them Pirates?
Enough of this baseball. You know what else is hot, Jim? Is those Pittsburgh Pirates.
What are they? Winners of 6 of their last 10?
Yeah. I mean, let's be real. That's impressive. You know?
Yeah.
That's just like just normal talk for, some good teams. But we're talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yeah, 6 of the last 10. They took 3 of 4 against the Indians. Cardinals. They took 2 of 3 against the Indians. However, they also took 3 of 4 against the Cardinals. So
3 of 4 against the Cardinals. Yeah, no, and it was a good series. The bats were alive. Pitching was good. It was an overall good series, kind of all around fun to watch. Always good to beat the divisional teams. Like if you're gonna suck, like I mean, everybody's got to win some games, right? So you might as well beat like the Cardinals and the Cubs.
Yeah, I'm down for that. if you're going to lose 100 games, as you're alluding to, if you're going to lose 100 games, the 62 that you win might as well be against the Cardinals and the Cubs, and I'm for that.
Yeah,
because they're doing a fine job losing. Because then they go into Colorado and lose against the Rockies, because that makes sense. So you'll get those losses.
What's actually crazy is after the Cardinals series, if you looked at the National League standings, the Pirates were closer to the Cardinals than they were to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That just shows how terrible the Diamondbacks are this year.
It shows a couple things, yeah. The Diamondbacks are really bad.
The Diamondbacks have not won 6 out of 10, like at any point this year.
No, probably not. They even won 6 games. They've won 22 games. They are 22-58.
That's amazing.
They're 12-24 at home.
I mean, again, this goes to the mystique. Like, it's hard to lose 100 games. It really is. It's hard to do. And the Diamondbacks are showing that 120 is very possible.
Yeah.
This is
oh my gosh, it's insane. They the Rockies, who is the next best team, other than the Pirates. They actually have a worse, how the Diamondbacks went through that, how many consecutive road losses, 18 or something?
No, I think it was in the 20s. Weren't they at 22?
Even crazier. The Rockies have only won 6 away games this year.
But they're
10 games over. They're 10 games over 500 at home. The Rockies.
Is that good air?
25 games under 500 on the road.
That's a crazy split. That really is.
That's insane. And what doesn't make sense about it is you could say, well, that's the Coors effect, but it's both teams are playing at Coors. It's not like the Rockies have this. Maybe they have a competitive advantage at Coors. They've built their team around that. They do have I feel like their outfield, they've got a lot of speed in the outfield, which maybe helps them cover some ground that other teams don't have. But that is incredible, that split.
Well, what I was going to say, to a degree, I mean, the thing is that, you can't just look at it this year. I mean, that's so a crazy split for this year. I'm sure it's never been that extreme. But, I mean, there definitely is, that home field advantage. I want to say, even, look at Brian Reynolds catching center field yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it could just be – he's an adequate center fielder, but you almost felt like he didn't think that ball was going as far as it did. But, of course, it's in Coors Field. There's the one catch he made in the outfield where it seemed like he really had to adjust his route. It was oh, damn, this ball is still going. So maybe there is a little bit of that effect that, of course, the balls that are used to be in front of you are now behind you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I don't understand why they're so much better. They're actually a really good team at home. They're 26-16 at home. The Rockies. I mean, it's one of the best home records in baseball.
It is. And I remember last I looked. What's his face? How forget this? Not Hermes. Hermaine. What? Oh, God. Who the hell's the other pitcher for them?
Marquez?
No, not him. Come on.
Gosh, I don't know my Rockies pitchers.
John Gray.
I remember.
Jeez.
John Gray.
John
okay.
Gray.
Yeah.
Last I checked, I was looking at him too this year, and his away splits were worse than his home splits. So
it doesn't make any sense.
No, exactly. Exactly. And I'm maybe they've, to your point here, maybe they've learned and adapted how to pitch so well at Coors that they forgot how to pitch anywhere else. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird.
Anyways, enough with the Rockies in that sense. The Pirates, back to the Pirates. Let's get to the good Pirates. The 3-4 Pirates against the Cardinals. That was exciting to talk about.
Yes. I mean, Brian Reynolds was on fire for the series.
The whole top three was on. I mean, we talked about it on Thursday.
Yeah, really,
whole
it's
series,
the top three.
They were just mashing.
And that's really all it was. The rest of the lineup didn't do too much. It's just those three. They just kept getting on base. They were producing runs. They were scoring. They were driving runs in. Excellent series for those top three. Brian Hayes made what? Seriously. I mean, I know people are like, there's some people who are like, well, it was Yachty running. Well, like, yeah, but like, do you realize what he did? Like, did that.
Can I ask this? Is that really a thing?
It's a thing. If you look on like some of the replies on some of like the national accounts who are posting it.
Okay.
People are like, yeah, but if it was a real person running, he would have been safe.
Got you. Okay. I only asked that because I see a lot of outrage on it, but I don't really see the comments that actually say it. So I was just curious if that's really a thing or if people are like making it a thing. Okay.
No, it's a thing. I've seen quite a few of those comments. And it's like, yeah, you're right. I mean, but that's all part of the play. Like, Yadier Molina is the one who hit the ball. If it was anybody else, maybe Hayes wouldn't have been playing where he was on the field. Like, it's all a matter of, that's what happened. But
yeah,
I digress. I mean, the dude threw the ball, like someone did the analytics on it yesterday. Hayes threw the ball 159 feet, basically falling away on his back leg and delivered a strike. It was just an absolutely insane play. 159 feet. I don't know if people realize how far that is.
Right. I mean, think like football wise. That's like Patty Mahomes. I mean, that's making ESPN all day long. You know, if that was like Patrick Mahomes turning around, flipping and throwing like a strike 30 yards down the field.
Yeah.
That's what Brian Hayes did in a baseball game. And got a guy out in the process. Like, I get that point too about it, like being Yachty, but it still counts. It still happened. You know, like, take the base runner out. If there was, I mean, just him doing what he did is amazing. That's what the amazing part is. And then he got the guy out and doing it.
Yep. Yeah, and it was one of the more insane. Like, you see Manny Machado make plays like that every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like kind of the other guy who popped into my head. But I don't think I've ever seen Manny make a play where he was that deep. Like, I feel like he like the ones where he makes where he's doing that, he's a little bit closer. That was that. I don't know if I've seen a third baseman getting out throwing the ball from that far away.
No,
ever before.
And I think
actually,
like, the add to the mystique to this too is it was in a game where he was playing against Nolan Arenado. You know, like, Nolan Arenado was in the other dugout watching that. And like, you bring up Manny, that's a good point too. Like, but I feel Manny makes those type of plays. But Nolan Arenado is just coveted as like the best defender in baseball. I mean, he makes some spectacular plays. He's a very good defender. I'm not taking anything away from him, right? But there's some talk like Brian Hayes is coming, you know, and now they're in the same division. You know, we even talked about it, you know, this offseason and such, like his defense, like, is he still behind Arenado? Is he going to be close to Arenado? Is he going to surpass Arenado? And Arenado's in the other dugout and watches, you know, Brian Hayes do that. I've never seen Arenado do that. I've seen Brian Hayes now do that. And I'm not saying here, I'm not up here. This isn't my stance to say that, you know, Brian Hayes is better than Arenado. I'm just saying this dude is so legit defensively. It is just, he's a freak. He is a freak, Brian Hayes.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, I don't know. I mean, he is 100% in that category, right? That you would put Arenado, you would put Machado in there, right? Like those elite defensive third baseman, Matt Chapman. You know, he's right there with him.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like, that play almost like seals that deal.
Yep.
Now, who's better? You can argue, but
you
they're
could
all
argue.
there.
Yeah,
they're all right. I mean, he is there. He is an elite defender at third base. As you tweet out time and time again, Rawlings, get on the plane.
Right. Yeah, I was telling Rawlings to get his nameplates ready.
Yeah.
For his trophies.
Yep.
I don't know if he'll get enough playing time this year to win anything this year, but I mean, it's coming. He will win a Gold Glove, and it's going to be sooner rather than later, I think.
For sure. For sure, he's winning. He's going to win multiple Gold Gloves.
Yeah.
The way he plays defense, and it is coming close. It absolutely is. I mean, it's all standing in his way is Arenado, I feel. And Arenado is, well, if we're going to talk about all-star games at all, like Arenado is the Mike Trout. You know, like Arenado just gets into the Gold Glove because he is Arenado. But
yeah,
he's getting up there in age, and you know that could start dropping off a bit. So Hayes, who else is out there that's going to produce the way Hayes is producing right now defensively? I don't see it. Not in the NL, at least yet. I mean,
no. I mean, if you're looking at like statistics, right? Like those defensive metrics, the Rockies, Josh Fuentes is good, but he doesn't even play there full time. Like it's like a backup position, so I don't really think he'd be considered for anything. But yeah, I mean, it's Hayes in the NL. It's Hayes, Arenado, and Machado.
mm-hmm.
It's those three. And Eric Gonzalez is up there too this year.
That's right.
I mean, you can't argue with that. He's been an excellent defensive third baseman. But yeah, Arenado, Machado, and Hayes. Those are going to be the three main defensive third basemen in the National League, at least for the immediate future. And then, you mentioned Arenado's getting up there, so he's going to start falling off a little bit. Machado's still pretty young, so he's got some years on him. But yeah, we'll see. I think it could end up being kind of a Hayes Machado race these next like 5 years or so.
It's no race. Hayes got this. But yeah,
He's got it.
I mean, we could talk about that Hayes defensive play for like all day long. Mm-hmm. That's how beautiful it was. But getting back to like everyone else, I mean, yes, Adam Frazier still hits. Brian Reynolds still hits. Brian Reynolds, man, like, I mean, we've talked about it time and time again. Like, I feel like all we talk about on this show is like Adam Frazier and Brian Reynolds because that's all that there is out there. But like, they give us reasons to do it. Like, they keep proving a point. And here's the thing. So we started the show talking about this team, and I know they're won 6 out of 10, but they're still a bad team. They're close to a 100-loss season pace, right? And they're doing all this with a guy who's like on pace for 6 WAR and 5 WAR. I mean, we've talked about Brian Reynolds' WAR per se, I think, more than Adam Frazier, but like Adam Frazier's on a 5 WAR pace season. Think about that. And we're talking about Adam Frazier again too, but like you have a guy who's on pace for 6, a guy who's on pace for 5, and then you have Brian Hayes, who because he doesn't play enough, games this year, but he could be like a 5 pace WAR easy guy, 5 WAR pace. So if you have these 3 dudes that are just dominating, and this team's still going to lose 100 games.
Yeah, it's and I think that's why I'm a little hesitant on like extending this rebuild a little bit longer, right? Like, I think if you're going to have Reynolds producing like this and you're going to have Hayes being the superstar that he is, like you can't wait until 2023 to do something, in my opinion. Like the trying to be somewhat competitive starts next year. And because I don't think you're going to suck next year.
Right.
So you might as well try to maybe sneak your way and grab one of those wild card spots, maybe try to win 85 games. I mean, it's the NL Central is so terrible right now that I feel like if like you just try a little bit during the offseason, like you're in a good position. I mean, you look at the Reds. We don't even know what the Reds do half the time, but they do try, right? And look where they are. Like they're right there, looking for the NL Central. So, and it's not like that's a great team. They've got 2 guys mashing, right? It's very similar to the Pirates. They have 2 guys, and those 2 guys are basically carrying the offense. And then they've just like scraped together a pitching staff. Their bullpen is complete trash. Yet they're like 4 games over 500 in the NL Central. So
right.
I think next year is the year where you at least just like, you try next year, you go out there and I'm not saying you sign like big ticket free agents or anything, but you put together a team that can at least be competitive.
Okay, so let me ask this, because here's a little bit of worry. So is it more through signing, or are you even making trades?
It's through signing. I don't think there's really trades to be made. Maybe Colin Moran, but maybe Colin Moran is your first baseman that you decide to roll with. I don't know, but I would absolutely, I would absolutely at least make sure you have like competent corner outfielders, right? I mean, how easy is it to find corner outfielders?
Well, we talk about that. That's why it's hard to trade corner outfielders.
So easy. Like there's tons of them out there available, and we're out there throwing, -1 WAR Gregory Polanco, and then shuffling Kai Tom and Ben Gamble through left field, right?
Right.
Like you can find 2 guys. You can find 2 starting corner outfielders in the major leagues on the free agent market every single year, and it won't cost you hardly anything.
Yeah. Back to your Moran thing about trading him. Like, I feel if you trade him, that not really extending the rebuild, that's probably not going for it either. So, like, I meant for trades is, are you looking to even trade like prospect capital to bring in a big leaguer?
Yeah, I don't think you're doing that yet.
Okay.
No. So
I just want to make sure, because that's my concern, because of course you mentioned the Reds too, and I'm like, but I don't want to do the Reds because I get the trying, but it was a lot of dumb moves in my mind. To really just spin and get nowhere, just to be a good team in this bad division instead of becoming a great team in a great baseball league.
Yeah, I mean, I think but if you kind of look at the logic that the Reds have right now, they're like, Joey Votto, how much longer do we have Joey Votto, right? So like while we have him, we may as well try, right? So that's kind of what they're doing. And it's like now the Pirates are like, okay, we now have these 2 young guys who are studs in Hayes and Reynolds. We can't just like waste their years. Like we only have them for a set amount of time, right? And the longer that you extend this out, the more you're just wasting good years out of them. So I'm 100% on board. Next offseason, like, actually do something.
So maybe we can talk a little about that. Maybe we're diverting here, but this could be good. So I've talked a little in our group about what I want to do. You've talked a little bit about you. Maybe both can happen. I don't know. To me, this kind of makes sense because let's maybe talk the infield for the future. Okay, Brian Hayes is at third base. That's done. We don't know about first. Right now we have Moran, who's passable. Middle infield is a mess for right now. However, in the future, you have Gonzalez, you have Peguero, you have Cruz. There's definitely options coming. Potentially Bay. There's options. Yes, I passed over Cole Tucker. I passed over Newman. Hopefully, those aren't the guys because there's definitely better ceilings elsewhere. But those are also guys that are in the mix. I feel like the outfield is where there's definitely struggles. Like there's there's Brian Reynolds, and that's it. Like the Swaggerty injury really dampers that. As we talked, you really can't go. Like I don't think you can have true expectations for him going forward. He just becomes icing on the cake if he pans out. So it might just be me. I know he's on my wall, but I would love to see a Starling Marte reunion to a degree. Because I feel, for one, Brian Reynolds is an adequate center fielder. He can play there. He's shown that he can play if needed. But he's probably better suited in left. Like in left, he's an asset. You put him in left field, you put Marte in center, you bring him back. Marte's showing like he's still a dude, He takes care of himself. He takes care of his body. Like
he's having a really good year.
I feel like he can age well. Okay. Now, because of the season, I don't know. I think it's going to price out, But like the Pirates have no like contract obligations, right? Like this is pretty much as bottom as you can get, especially next year when Polanco's gone. So it's like, could you get Marte here on like a 3-4 year deal? I would love that because that fits the top. Like there's really nothing coming in like the next 3 to 4 years. So Marte plugs in and he's there, and it's like you said, that gets them competitive, but that can be through their years of like this window. You know, he's there.
I don't hate it. Because first off, he's somebody who's going to provide you excellent defense. So even if like the hitting takes a step back, the value's still there, right? I mean, because we saw it in his time here. I mean, even some of his more down offensive years, you know, he was still a 3-win player, just because of how good he was defensively. This year, I don't know where this walk rate is coming from this year.
Dude, he has changed so much. Like he is not chasing pitches at all this year. The Marte we've all learned to love / hate, like just doesn't exist.
He is an on-base machine right now. He's got an OBP of 402. 402. He's walking 13% of the time. That's like basically triple his normal.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if that's like a fluke or what. I mean, it's only 42 games, so maybe it's just small sample size and it'll even out here at the end. But no, he's having a great year. He is a free agent. That's somebody who, yeah, I would be 100% on board with. Like if he's willing to do like a 3. I mean, he is getting a little older, right? So he'll be 33 next year. But if he's willing to do like a 3-year deal, I'm cool with that. Because like you said, the one position where we are a little bit further out is outfield, right? There's not really anybody there in AAA who's going to be like an impact talent major leaguer, right? No one in AAA, and there's really no one in AA. Like we could talk about maybe Cal Mitchell, Kanan Smith, and Jigba, right? Those guys are there in AA, but they're probably more complementary type guys than they are like starting impact major leaguers, right? You'd have to, in order to find your impact outfield talent in this organization, you got to go down to single A. So we're still a couple years off there. So yeah, hey, you know what? I was thinking more towards like 1-year deals for outfielders, but I would be okay with like a 3-year deal. Yeah, I mean, if they're willing to do something like that, if Marte's willing to do something like that, who knows what he's looking at getting. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be fine with that. There's a lot of people out here who I think you could maybe just like lock up for a year too, but yeah, I'd be good. I'd be good with a 3-year Marte deal if he'd take it.
That's really the thing too. Like I'm perfectly okay with 1-year deals as well. Like that would make sense. But part of this is the fact that, like you mentioned, I feel this does need to get sped up a bit. Like you said, 2022 to be competitive. I feel 2022 has to get better by any means. How much better we can debate, but by 2023, this team needs to be there and ready to go again because of those windows. And I feel like Marte does that. You know, and again, it's the fact that there's nothing down there. If there was maybe something coming up, like what if Swaggerty was still healthy and he's been a dude right now all this year? Maybe Marte doesn't make sense because it's like, well, you have Swagger there. He comes up. You know, maybe now just get like a 1-year right fielder or something like that to hold over. But to me, it's just the fact that there is really no solid options coming up in the outfield that you're going to need, in my mind, something in 2023. So why not get it now? And that way, you are competing. You are getting better now this year. You have that nucleus. You're starting to build this nucleus. And Marte can be there this year throughout, until hopefully 4 years from now, right, when his contract is up or whatever, that something's ready to take over or whatnot. So that's the thought of it. You had another thought, I think, potentially. Did you want to talk about it?
Yeah. I think that kind of fits along those same lines, though. Like bringing Andrew McCutchen back to be your starting left fielder for a couple of years. Because right now, like, who would you rather have right now, Andrew McCutchen or Ben Gamel and Kai Tom just trotting out there, right? And McCutchen, I don't think is going to be somebody I don't think he's going to be super expensive or anything like that. This next offseason, he'll definitely be somebody who's commanding a major league deal, maybe even like a 2-year deal, but kind of on the same lines as Marte. right? You know, he's getting up there in age. No one's going to sign him like a 4-year deal or anything. Like his big deal was this last one with Philadelphia, right? From this point forward, his career is probably 1 and 2 year deals. And he's another guy who honestly, he would just fit right in. Like he would fit right in with this team. The fans would freaking love it, right? I mean, just being honest, like McCutchen coming back there and being your starting left fielder, fans would love that,
right?
And he's still competent. Like he's having he started off pretty cold this year, but the guy still, he gets on base, he hits for power. You know, that's like the time that, like, when I'm talking about corner outfielders who are like readily available, like Andrew McCutchen is a kind of exactly what I'm talking about. Like Andrew McCutchen, Mark Hanna, you know, those types of guys. They're all going to be free agents next year. They're all decent and they're way better than what we have right now. I mean, you take Andrew McCutchen and he's your leadoff hitter next year. I mean, he just slots right in there as your leadoff hitter.
Right.
And he probably, I mean, he's making what, like $16 million this year. He's not going to make that next year. Like next year, he's probably more of like a $5 million type guy, just with kind of the way his production has gone.
And of course, his age.
And his age. Yeah. So
I think both, you know, to me, Marte fits more of now and the long-term plans. Kutch, not so much as long-term, but I think both also, like, not only does it make sense for this club to have them on this team, but I think especially Kutch, like, imagine what this team's fan base, right? Like, is going to be like if Marte, or it's like you said, especially Kutch, comes back. There's a little bit of rejuvenation right there, and they're not like it's not just, you know, I'm not even looking at this as if like, oh, I'm a fan of this, you know, let me bring him back. I mean, it makes sense. Like the Marte one makes sense because there is nothing there, and he's a good center fielder, and the Kutch one makes sense because there's nothing there, and he's still a good corner outfield that's going to be on the cheap and such. So I think that does two things. Now the thing is, Cherington has no ties to them. You know, it's not like, you know, let me bring back my boys.
Right.
But I like the ideas of both of them, and not just for sentimental reasons, for actual production reasons.
I mean, you look at it, and let's say you bring the two in, right? And it's going to cost you.
Are you saying both at the same time?
Let's bring both in, right? Hypothetically.
Yes, I love the idea of it better.
Hypothetically, you bring both in, right? And you got an outfield now of McCutchen. Maybe you put McCutchen in right at that point, and you have Marte and Reynolds, you know, left and center.
Yes.
Or Reynolds and Marte. Like that outfield, first off, it's an incredible upgrade from what you have right now.
Right.
And from a cost standpoint, probably not too much different from what you're paying right now. Like the Pirates are paying Gregory Polanco $13 million this year. How much are you realistically going to be paying Marte and Kutch next year? Right. So like, it's one of those things where like it actually makes sense. And we're using McCutchen and Marte as like two examples, but we could easily say, you know, other people here too, but those are two people who are going to be free agents, and they would slot in nicely to this team. And then you start thinking about a lineup, right? Mm-hmm. And you've got Hayes, Reynolds, McCutchen, Marte, right? And, you know, Stallings is going to still be there.
Moran,
maybe Moran potentially. And then, so like, there's your top six, and that's like a competent top six in a lineup, right? And then you just got to put in two middle infielders, right? It makes sense. And like I said, this team, they need to actually try a little bit next year, in my opinion. Like they can't just roll over next year and waste another season of Reynolds and Hayes. Can't do it.
Yes, I agree. And like you said, that does make sense. That's competent. And like you said, we're even just with that, where is payroll? Nowhere.
Payroll is no different than it is right now.
Right. So, and I think too, not that he's making a ton of money, obviously, also, but like you lost Polanco, and it's like, and then Frazier's gone, so that some millions are spending him. So like the addition,
he's making like 4, yeah,
right. So like the addition of Marte and Kutch, I don't think is going to be much more than Polanco and Frazier.
No,
and that's a pretty competent,
standpoint,
like you said, that's a pretty competent at lineup. I'm not saying it's wild card. It's not wild card, right? But it's competent. Like you can roll out there next year with that and say, I can watch a game. Like fans can come out, not just because Marte and Kutch is there, but fans can come out and say, like, okay, this lineup is pretty good. And Brian Hayes is there, so who knows what magic he's going to produce. And then like on the other end too, on the pitching side, I mean, you just potentially hope it's going to get a little bit better. You would imagine your Hurray is going to be there. Keller will be there. What form, we'll find out. You got JT Brubaker, potentially Max Kranick, we'll talk about here in a second. Contreras, I would imagine.
We haven't talked. Yeah, Contreras is going to be up in the majors at some point next year. Yeah,
right.
I mean, he'll be in AAA before the end of this year. So his timeline, he'll be in the majors next year. We said want to talk about Brault. Like Brault is a competent back end major league starter. Who knows what Chad Kuhl is, but he's been looking okay. I mean, I think we know who Chad Kuhl is, but
we don't, because he's now starting to throw the fastball, the 4-seamer.
he'll be here, right? And then you do what you did this year, like you sign a couple guys to kind of fill out the rotation from the free agent wire who aren't expensive. People like Tyler Anderson, and if
like who they should have signed.
Was that a sneeze? No, okay.
No, I said
yeah, but like. I was like, what in the world is that?
Guys like that.
Guys like that who are, I mean, a dime a dozen. I mean, if you're looking, starting pitchers who are going to be free agents this offseason, there's a list of like 70 of them, right? Just pick a couple of them. And yeah, then you roll with that. You're probably not looking at a bad team, especially in the NL Central.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And those would be good moves. There's still salary. I mean, it's your payroll's still very cheap in sense. Like you still have room to grow with it. So
you could sign 2 starting pitchers, McCutchen, Marte, and then maybe like a somewhat competent shortstop, right? Like, I don't know, sound like Jose Iglesias or something. And
see, I'm even okay on like kind of punting on that right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
The reason I'm okay is also at some point you would expect Cruz to be up next year.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
So it's like if we have to do Newman at the beginning, we have to do him at the beginning.
Okay, I'm okay with that too.
Okay,
I think that the corner outfield spots though, like that needs to be solved. It's just too easy to find corner outfielders. You can't just keep trotting out these people that they are. That's an easy upgrade. Yeah, I think that's your plan for next year. And like, if you do that, your payroll is not going up that high because again, we just
70 million.
We just like shed everything.
Yes, I said yeah. I mean, we're at 70 million then, like at max.
Not even.
70,
I mean, Yeah, I mean, not even. You got to think once Polanco's gone, that takes the team payroll down to like $30 million, $35 million. Add on another 30 million and you're at a $65 million payroll, right? I mean, that's still nothing.
Yeah. I hear you, man. It could be done. Like, it can be done.
Yeah.
I don't know what his vision is, Cherington. I'm sure he's got a plan. He's executed very, very well on stuff that he's done so far. But again, my biggest concerns and worries is when this team is going to be good and compete again and how long this window is going to be for and whatnot. So I think these are potential ways that it can happen. And still, you're not losing any of that prospect capital. They're coming up still. And, in 2023, 2024, that's when you can start making decisions on actual trades and who's going to be here, who's not, and put a damn good team out there. So, oh well. So enough about that.
Yeah.
That's a tangent. We went off and just
that was a tangent.
Yeah, like just led further and further away from what our show was going to be about. and it's already 8. So anything else I guess you really wanted to talk about here as far as the team goes, or we want to get into prospects here?
Let's talk about Max Kranick. I mean, made his Major League debut.
Jeez.
Major League debut, and I believe if I saw the tweet correctly, first starting pitcher to ever have a perfect start in his Major League debut. I think that's right. Ever in Major League Baseball.
Okay.
So even though he only went 5 innings, he still was perfect.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's never happened before.
I've seen so many dates and times and this and that I forget what they were, what they're comparing.
Yeah.
So I'm not doubting you at all. I don't know. But I can tell you, even if you are incorrect with that, it's stuff he's doing is historical, right?
Yeah.
The closest date for anyone that's comparing anything, it was 1913, I think, or something. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he was excellent. 5 innings, he just threw strikes, right? Which was kind of that was the scouting report coming in. The guy's going to throw strikes, and he threw strikes, and the Cardinals couldn't hit it. A lot of balls in play. He only had 3 strikeouts, I think, in that time period, but 3 strikeouts in 5 innings, no walks, but ground balls, flyouts. He was able to just get people to make weak contact, and yeah, awesome outing for him. Pretty happy for the guy. I wouldn't say he was a non-prospect. He's certainly a prospect. He is somewhat interesting, coming up through the system. And then he also, this offseason added a lot of velocity, worked with our old buddy Vic Black, which what was he 2000 I think he was the 2000 draft pick, I want to say. I think he was right behind Sean Burnett. Going back in Pirates draft history. But yeah, worked with Vic Black, added some velocity, and yeah, he looked good. I mean, again, you just throw strikes. That's all you gotta do. And that's what he did.
Yep.
I was a little off. 2009 draft. I was way off, actually. 9 years off.
That's all. Well, yeah, Vic Black, who would have thought the dividends he'd be paying? He was traded to the Mets for oh God. I'm terrible with names, as you all already know. The outfielder they brought in, who got pumped for steroids 38 times.
Marlon Byrd. Was he part of that trade?
Yeah. Wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
So they traded him for Marlon Byrd, right? Yeah. Big upgrade,
Okay.
big move. And now look what he's doing with Max Kranick. So look at the dividends Vic Black has paid off for the Pirates with really never performing for the Pirates.
The Neil Huntington draft pick right there.
There you go. See, big galaxy brain right there. Vic Black was drafted not for being a good pitcher, but for what he was going to bring the Pirates in the future. So yeah. I agree with you. It's not as if he's a non-prospect in the sense. I don't think anyone was really booking anything for him in the future. He was an interesting prospect who, let's say, he got more interesting this year because of his velocity. And again, he credits a lot to Vic Black. So, again, he was interesting, and now he's even more interesting. And he goes, how many total games he play in Double and AAA? It wasn't much at all. He just flew through.
Yeah, he was
in the majors now.
7 games total. Yeah.
So, and he comes in the majors and he pitches a perfect 5 innings. So it's incredible to see his ascension to the major league club to begin with, and then he comes out there and does that. Now, with that being said, it was really good to see. It was a shame that it rained. I would have liked to see what he would have kept doing. And then also, not for his sake, I would have loved to see how Shelton would have handled it.
I agree too. Yeah. I was curious to see what he was going to do, because his pitch count was still excellent.
Yes.
I think it was still 50 or something through 5. He was being extremely efficient because he wasn't
on the button.
Yeah, because he wasn't striking people out. He wasn't throwing balls. Like, he was throwing the ball in the strike zone, getting hitters out quickly. Yeah, so it would have been interesting to kind of see how it all progressed. But stupid rain.
Yeah,
St. Louis Cardinals
saved by the raindrops.
Cardinals used their devil magic, made it rain, which caused him to come out.
So with all this said, now he's optioned to AAA. A lot of heat, a lot of talk around nationally, right? Oh my God, This guy comes up here, pitches a perfect game, and he gets rewarded by the cheap Pirates. Send him to AAA, service time manipulation, this and that. Enlighten us, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's going to be a paper move, right? The Pirates have, I think, 20 games in a row without off days, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they just need another bullpen arm is what they wanted right now, which is why they optioned him, because Max Kranick can't pitch for the next 5 games, right? I mean, he's a starting pitcher. He needs to recover from that outing. So they send him down. He'll be back. Don't worry. Like, he'll be back. This was more of a paper move, I believe, on their part. You will see Max Kranick make another start before the All-Star break.
Right. I agree to some degree, some level. Something's going to happen. Max Kranick will be up there pitching, because that's the thing too. Like, he is still with the club. He is in Colorado right now with the Pirates. He wasn't optioned and sent packing and go to Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
He's still with the Pirates. So again, I mean, there's talk that they're going to have a 6-man rotation. Well, that's Max Kranick. Max Kranick is still with the Pirates. He's in Colorado. So, like, all this stuff matches up that it's not really like he's being optioned and sent to Indy. It seems as more of it's a paper move, like he's being optioned so that way they can have more arms right now, and then he'll be back with the club. Not really back. He'll still be with the club that he's with, just be activated.
Yeah, and I know there's a rule out there, like, once he's optioned, he can't come up for 15 days, but there is an exception to that rule. If someone gets injured, you can come up quicker than that, and that just happens all the time. So,
right.
Like, it's actually pretty easy for them to just put, like, a reliever on the IL, and it's like, oh, somebody got hurt, time to call Kranick back up, right? So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe he makes his next start in Indy just to kind of do that, but he will be back up soon.
True. The other thing with that is I'm so happy for the kid, but, like, I'm also afraid because it's Pittsburgh, and we're already hearing what about to drop the F-bomb. Colin Dunlap. Well, so after today's start, who would you want going forward? Max Kranick or Mitch Keller and all this? And it's like, Kranick is going to have to live up to his first start being perfect 5 games, and everyone's like, Max Kranick is the best guy alive that ever pitched. The Pirates are cheap and dumb that they're going to he's going to be pitching for a playoff team in 3 years and all this and whatever. It's like, I mean, just chill, everyone. Like, let the kid pitch, let the kid play. He's not Jesus. He's, I'm just afraid that Pittsburgh meeting all this is now going to make a thing about Max Kranick. And I don't know. You know what I'm getting.
No, I get that. Yeah, I mean, we did say that, like, it's not like he's a non-prospect. He is interesting. He was interesting. I believe even when we had Tim Williams on the show at the beginning of the year, he mentioned Max Kranick in particular as somebody he was looking forward to. So, like, it's not like this is a guy who came out of nowhere. Like, he's been kind of following him for a bit here. But you also have to keep in mind, if you look at a prospect list, he's like 38th on the team prospect list. Like, yeah, this isn't an ace. Like, this isn't a future ace. Max Kranick has the potential where he could develop into, like, a number 5 starter. That's probably the ceiling here, right?
Yes. And what are we talking? Like, last week we were talking and debating on if Will Crow's a number 5 starter or not. So, like, we're hoping he enters Will Crow territory, like, in that sense.
Yeah, yeah. He had an excellent start. Super happy for him. Like, that's great. But, like, yeah, kind of temper expectations here. He's made the majors, right? Which is a feat in and of itself. had a great debut, but like, yeah, just kind of remember who it is. it's not. I mean, this guy's not like a top pitching prospect.
You're not picking him over Mitch Keller.
No, you're not. I mean, you're not.
Thank you. Not even a question.
Maybe like 2 years from now, after if he's able to show that he is a fifth starter and Keller still hasn't, then yeah, go ahead. But at this point in time, yeah, pump the brakes on it a little bit. But it was great to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into prospect talk then, Jim.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about? I guess Nick Gonzales came back. So Nick Gonzales was out for 6 weeks after he got hit in his hand. Came back on Saturday, made his first start back for Greensboro. Homered on Saturday, homered on Sunday.
Yeah,
that's just like the definition of things you want to see.
Things you want to see.
His first at bat, since May 19th, Oppo Taco home run. Good stuff. And then he did the exact same thing the next day. So yeah, Nick Gonzales is back.
And like, that's very encouraging because through his injury, he came back. Did it feel like he came back sooner than like anticipated as well? Or did
they said it was 4 to 6 weeks, and it basically was closer to 6 than 4.
Okay, then never mind.
Yeah.
I guess that time just kind of flew by. All right, so he comes back. But yeah, like, I guess some of the questions too was like the power. Like, if is it legit? Is he going to transfer over? Like, is he going to, like, what type of a hitter is going to be? The average should be there. He has a good hit tool, but what's the power going to be? And he's showing the power. I mean, I'm really impressed so far about Nick Gonzales. I know Bucko Mike's listening probably at some point and is going to like, oh, he sucks. He's a bust, right? Oh, what's his OPS in the past 7.3 games, or some stupid stat like that or whatever. But anyways, like, Nick Gonzales has done nothing but so far impress in his professional debut with the Pirates. And again, like, those 2 home runs now just coming, like, this is very intriguing. I'm liking what I see from Nick Gonzales.
I mean, how can you not? He's slugging .617. He's a 165 WRC plus.
Right.
I think he's a very advanced hitter. I think the plan, if I were running this organization, I think you let him play maybe another week or 2 at Greensboro, but like, this guy's I think this guy moves fast. Like, I mean, if he's dominating high A and he's a college bat, at some point you just bump him up to double A. And so I think that point's coming soon. Then you're going to have you're going to start having a log jam now in Altoona. So maybe that's what triggers Cruz moving to AAA, or I don't know what'll happen there, but if you have Gonzalez, Cruz, and Bay all in Altoona, then you're kind of shuffling some playing time things there. But they also did mention they were going to try Cruz in a few different spots, so who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, I don't know how much longer if he keeps this up. I know it's only 2 games since coming off the IL, but if he keeps hitting double A pretty soon.
I like it. And so, by the way, 18 hits so far in the short season, but of the 18 hits, 11 for extra bases, 7 doubles, 4 home runs. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah,
this isn't just, he's in Arizona where the air's thin. Like, he's doing this. I like it. Okay.
Yeah. I kind of, because you look at like Pedro Alvarez was kind of the same advanced college hitter, right? Started in high A. Alvarez played 66 games in high A before moving to double A. So, that's basically 2.5 months, 3 months. So yeah, after 2 to 3 months, if Gonzalez is raking, go ahead and just bump him up.
So speaking of timelines again too, I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but I just want to say, like, we're talking timelines and talking, people, like we said, like, middle infield next year, I'm okay with kind of punting on because you're going to expect Cruz to be there. Gonzalez might be shortly after too. I mean, do you think Nick Gonzales could potentially be a midseason call-up next year?
I think he could. I think he could if you were like. I think that is pretty aggressive. I would expect 2023.
Okay,
that would be my expectation. But I mean, I guess he could. Like, if he makes you call him up that early, then I could see it. But I think that's pretty quick.
Okay, good deal.
But I think that was kind of Pedro's timeline, though. If we're talking college bats, I think Pedro. Let's see. Pedro was minor leagues in 09, high A 09, double A 09, started off in triple A in 2010, and then made the majors in June. So that was Pedro's timeline. We'll see. Yeah, it's definitely possible.
I mean, again, he can struggle, and that could change things. But like, if he goes through, that could be another potential like possibility. Like, so what if you're looking at like Cruz and Gonzalez in the second half of next year?
Yeah, then that would make me feel a little bit better about rolling with like Tucker, Gonzalez, and Newman at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Also
makes me feel good about signing someone like a Kutch and Marte, because maybe the first half you're getting by on things, but like the second half that could be a competitive ass team.
So let's say you Cruz and Gonzalez are here second half of next year, and you signed Marte and Kutch. How about that lineup?
There's a lot of possibilities. Like I said, we are getting ahead of ourselves. But if you want to think almost like best case scenario wise, right? Let's do it. Let's pander a little bit here. Let's think best case. That could potentially be a damn good lineup.
Yeah,
because I mean, Gonzalez, you have definitely the hit tool. I mean, Cruz might be a little bit shaky, but the power threat that he does bring in such too. Like, you have a deep lineup there.
I like it.
I like it a lot. I like what the potential could be,
yeah.
Especially if Marte doing. Oh, and back to Marte. Yeah, his. I just wanted to bring this up here but like his swinging strike rate. So he's swinging less in the zone. It seems like he's being way more selective this year. He averaged 74% swinging in the strike, and now it's only 69. And he's chasing only 28% of pitches, where for his career it's 35%. So he seems like he's swinging a lot less, but definitely chasing a lot less as well. And like you said, that's leading to him getting on base. He's still Marte. He's still got power, still got speed. Anyways, so yeah, like that outfield and now that infield. Someone brought up something, and I don't think I've heard this mentioned too much. And I know it's more for the throws too. But, if you're worried about Cruz's defense as short, well, there's nothing that would help that more than having like a Brian Hayes at third. Again, I know that his issue, I think, is more with the throwing. Maybe we can fix that up. But
yeah, I think
Brian covers a lot of ground. Issue. So, like, if you're worried about shortstop defense, he'll help that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Cruz does, because I mean, they keep saying he still hasn't played any other positions yet, so who knows what that's going to look like. I mean, as of right now, he's a shortstop, so we're going to treat him like one if that's where he's playing.
Mama said he's a shortstop. I say he's a shortstop.
Yeah, so if that's where he's playing, then he's a shortstop. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at timeline next year. Hopefully, we see O'Neal Cruz. I was hoping it was going to be this year. They seem to be moving him kind of slowly, though.
Yeah, I think they pumped the brakes on that for you. Cherington pretty much came right out and said, "Sorry, Jim, it's not happening."
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's stick there. Like, what about Peguero? Speaking of home runs and coming back from injuries.
Yeah, so Peguero missed some time. And I think it kind of maybe took him a little bit of a couple games to get on track, get his timing back. But that dude has been on fire lately. Let me pull up. I saw a stat the other day, like what he was doing since since a specific date. But
yeah, it was me. I tweeted out there on Sunday morning.
Was you?
I forget what it is, but
yeah, I mean he's had a really good June, right? So if we just take June, Peguero in the month of June. Maybe it was a little bit after June, but because his first few days in June wasn't great. But 111 weighted runs created plus in June, 261, 333, 424. But if we chop it back to
what I did June was his 10th. Last 14 games. That's what I put out there.
Okay.
But since then, of course, there's been more games. But
yeah. But if we do June 10th, so if June 10th to June 27th, he's now 317, 388, 567 with a 159 weighted runs created plus. So he's hitting the ball really well as of late. He had a 3-hit game on Saturday with 2 home runs, which was great to see. But yeah, he is on fire. He had a really good last week, really good last 2 weeks, basically. But yeah, he's bringing his season numbers up a little bit. He looks like he's legit. He's 20 years old playing in high A ball, right? So he's super advanced for his age. When we talk about Gonzales, like him and Gonzales are on the same team. Gonzales is 2 years older than Peguero. So you got Peguero who's producing and doing quite well at a level where, you've got 2 years older first round pick Gonzales playing at. So right. Yeah, very advanced. It's nice to see that there. I think they could have been more caught. Like I wouldn't have been surprised to see them put Peguero in Bradenton to start the year, but they're being aggressive with him, which I'm fine with. And then he's doing quite well.
Yep. And I want to make this too. Like, I don't want to look as if we're like just cherry picking as well. Because like when you look at his overall season, it's still 122 weighted runs created plus. Like he's still having a fantastic overall season. The reason I think we're looking more to this is the fact that he was injured. It seemed as if things just like lingered. He was injured, came back, injured. Like he just never fully there. And right, it seemed as if it took him a few games to get right. So, looking at since then, right, since it seems as if things started to click for him, this is what he's doing. But still, like his all season, like he started really good. The injury kind of tailed off. And then now he's back healthy and really, really good again. So, again, things that you like to see, all of this.
Yeah, the power is what's kind of impressing me. Like, I didn't really know how much power he had.
Right.
But I mean, from the shortstop position, he's got 5 homers now in 20 games in high A, playing as a 20-year-old. You don't see 20-year-olds do that often. So that's what I'm most impressed with here is that power that he's showing. I mean, he's looking like he could be a dynamic offensive shortstop.
Mm-hmm. Because he's got the speed too. I mean, 9 stolen bases, 5 home runs this year in those 30 games. Yeah,
he's now cracked most top 100 prospect lists. So he's got that going for him now.
So the offensive side is looking really, really good. Speaking of cracking top 100 ones, we haven't even mentioned him really except for once this show. Today is officially Rowansy Day.
It is.
And he did officially crack Baseball America's top 100 list as well for prospects. So the Pirates can just slide another prospect as they lose to Brian Hayes. Roansy Contreras slides in there now. He's being recognized. People love him.
I mean, it's hard to not notice him. When you're 21 and you're just making double-A hitters look silly, you're going to get noticed. There's just not much else to say about that trade. I can't believe we're still in June and we got a top 100 prospect for Jamison Tyone who hasn't pitched in 2 years. And that's not even all we got. That's not even all we got. We've got other people there too, just like sitting right outside the top 100. Like,
but just before you get into that, insane. Like we're just in June, and one of those has cracked the top. Like this wasn't as if like okay, we got a bunch of like single A guys, and now we're 2 years later, and someone in AAA is like cracking the top 100, like almost instant returns. And I say too, like it's just June. It could have been May if there was an actual true like MILB season that started on normal time. Like that's part of it as well. Like we're getting instant gratification right here in that trade.
Yep. Yeah, I mean it's looking more and more like just an absolute just robbery.
So Contreras 45 innings so far, just a 2 ERA, 64 strikeouts, just 9 walks.
Yeah, we talked about like how much longer is he going to be in AA? I don't know. I think
just gonna say we kind of mentioned it, and just he's proven everything. Every time he has like I should say every time, like the one time he had a hiccup, he responded well. Like he's showing and proving everything in AA. So you're right. Like when's AAA coming for him? I haven't heard them mention anything specific with him so much. Like it was Cruz.
No, but he has had 6 out of his 8 starts have been, 1 run or less. Half of his starts have been shutout starts.
Is that all?
And the strikeout to walk numbers are just insane. I think that's what the most impressive part is here. Is he's striking tons of batters out and he's not walking people.
Right. It's not the. I don't want to start like comparisons and stuff, but like it's not the Tyler Glasnow effect where, you know what I mean? Like his stuff's just so good. He's still walking people. I mean, he's good all around. Like he's not walking people. He's striking out and doing so. It's great. I mean, man, I'm just so excited. Like I can't wait. He's at top 100 now. I think like just by default, but I can't wait till like the true real rankings start coming out and like he's really starting to push up there.
Oh, I mean, when next year's like when the off-season rankings come out and they like redo the whole thing, he will be listed up there as like one of the top pitching prospects in minors. I got to think.
So this could come with true validation, not a Colin Dunlap one, but Roansy Contreras or Quinn Priester?
I don't know. I think if I still had to pick one just because of the pedigree, I'd go Priester, but they're both looking pretty good.
So with that being said, like this is the ascension of Roansy Contreras right now after this trade. Like Priester is a top 50 prospect in baseball. Or if not top 50, top 60, he's just right there on that cusp.
Yeah.
Roansy Contreras, man, like there's your argument. There's your comparison. Like he could be in the top 50 prospects, top 60 range as of next year.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at Priester and Contreras in that same light.
Yeah, I mean, I would put them very similar to each other, like very close.
And that was all for just one player in the Jameson Tyler trade.
Yeah.
He's got a 5 ERA on the year.
Yeah.
I hate to do it to him. I'm not doing like I don't want to do that to Jameson,
right.
But like, man, Cherington pulling this haul. Okay. But yeah, Roansy Contreras, awesome. There's another pitcher out there doing awesome. You're going to see him this Saturday.
There's a few. But yeah, Carmen Mlodzinski on Saturday for Greensboro. Let me pull up his numbers from this past week. He went 6 innings, struck out 9, didn't walk anybody, only gave up 2 hits. He's another one who has looked really good this year. 7 starts, and he's only given up more than 1 run in 1 of them. So 6 of his 7 starts, 1 run or less. He's got a 1.72 ERA in 7 starts this year. 46 strikeouts, 9 walks, and 31 innings. So very similar numbers to what you see Contreras have. Mlodzinski's doing it just at a level that's 1 step below Contreras, and another college arm. So he's 22. I think he is somebody who, again, will probably be moved up to Altoona here shortly. Yes. But it's nice to see that. It's nice to see that 2020 draft because like they're all pitching well. Jared Jones, you've seen his highlights the past couple of nights. Struck out 11 batters in 4 innings on Sunday for Bradenton. So that's the second round pick, right? Majinski was the competitive balance pick. We all know what Gonzalez is doing. Then you've got Logan Hoffman. He's been mostly pitching out of the bullpen, but tons of strikeouts. It's kind of crazy. Like they're hitting on all these guys.
So kind of one thing I want to bring up here. Now I know, like, especially looking at top 100 prospect lists and such right now, this organization, at least yet, doesn't have like that top pedigree ace type of guy, right? But I do believe one thing we can absolutely say is this farm has a lot of intriguing arms. I mean, is that fair to say?
That's very fair to say. Yeah.
So I know, and of course with this draft coming up, we won't go too deep in that yet, but the whole later talk or whatever, that there might not be an ace in this organization yet that we know of. But there is a lot of guys, and like you said, especially that draft last year. I mean, that, like, the dividends of that draft is paying already that we're seeing. I mean, instant just success for these guys, especially as we talked about the let it wasn't an arm though, but Nick Gonzales. But there is a lot of really, really good pitching in this farm. And again, like, we didn't even talk so far about like Eddie Gein, who had 9 strikeouts and six relief innings.
Yeah, Eddie Gein was the pitcher of the week last week. So all these guys who were talking about how they had excellent weeks. Yeah, Eddie Gein went out there yesterday and absolutely dominated last week. So,
and speaking of
another guy,
Eddie Gein, right? Alex Stump put out there. He's now throwing like 99 miles an hour. Like, he's added velocity to his stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean, he only allowed one hit last week, 6 innings, struck out 9, no walks. He's another guy that he started off a little rocky this year, but his last 2 appearances have been just excellent.
We haven't even talked. I mean, that's, your hurry, like, I feel just gets like pushed back. Like, no one really talks about him too much, but like, unfortunately for him. But he is, so far, like, everything tracks that he's healthy. He's back to, I think, Pirate City throwing.
Yeah, he's in Bradenton right now. So hopefully I have a feeling, they're going to be really cautious with him. We may see him again this year. They may just say, you know what, let's just kind of take things easy. That'll be interesting to follow and seeing if he gets back on a mound this year. So, but yeah, he at least is pain-free apparently right now. So that's good to hear.
Yes. One last pitcher I want to touch on. Also, talk about trades. We haven't talked too much about the Musgrove trade, but Omar Cruz also doing some really good stuff in Altoona. So far in the year for him, 34 innings pitched, 40 Ks, 14 walks, 2.86 ERA.
Lefty too. But he also just got the promotion to AA. So he was the first guy to move up there, and had a really good debut in AA. 6 innings, no earned runs, struck out 2, didn't walk anybody. But he ton of strikeouts in Greensboro. The strikeouts weren't really there last week in his AA debut, but so I don't know if that's just a 1-start thing, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on him. He's not really somebody who was on a ton of prospect lists. So yeah, we'll have to kind of watch him and see what he does, because he was kind of just like an extra guy in that trade, I feel like.
Yeah. I guess that's really all I wanted to highlight and wrap up here. Anything else on your end?
I don't think so.
Cool. All right. Well,
yeah.
It's already 8:30, so we got to wrap this up. All right. Well, that being said, then I guess we will see you all on Thursday night again for NS9 Live. So we'll talk to you later.
Sounds
Bye.
good. See you guys.